the roaring lion Carlos Kramer, and welcome to MMA Super Cup 2022 Finals, where the magnificent Kingdom of Bahrain is going against the great country of Ireland. The winner, $100,000 to their team. Second place, $75,000. This has never been done in our sports history. We'd like to thank His Royal Highness Sheikh Khalid bin Hamad Al Khalifa, our vision, our support, who has changed the landscape of mixed martial arts worldwide and made the Kingdom of Bahrain the epicenter for combat sports. I'd also like to thank IMF President Gareth Brown for all of his incredible work that he has done to make this possible, along with the Bahrain Mixed Martial Arts Federation President Mohammed Kamber and Brave Combat Federation President the Hawk Mohammed Shahid. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, I would like to bring to the stage the two teams competing in our finals. First of all, please welcome Team Ireland! And let's next bring to the stage their opponent, the magnificent Kingdom of Bahrain! Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the national anthem. Anthem of the magnificent Kingdom of Bahrain. Ladies and gentlemen, before we begin, I have one question for you and one question only. For all those watching in the magnificent Kingdom of Bahrain and the millions watching around the world, are you ready? All right, ladies and gentlemen, you can see the MMA Super Cup 2022 trophy, the greatest, most prestigious trophy in all of sports. This is the most grand amateur event in our sports history. $100,000 is on the line. Let's bring our first warriors into the cage. From Ireland, please welcome Kerry and
Welcome back to the MMA Super Cup 2022. We've seen the cup arrive by helicopter. Now we see the finalists compete. First up, Bantamweight here, 61.2 kilograms. Ireland makes their way to the cage. Kerry Ann Vernon.
And her opponent from KHK Team Bahrain. Please welcome Sabrina Laurentina
Here we have Sabrina de Souza making her way to the cage for the finals. Hailing from Bahrain, exceptionally talented in all aspects of mixed martial arts, a professional star in the making, 2 goals under her belt and a senior female athlete of the year award.
If I can direct fans' attention to the top left of the screen, it shows the standing, the team being 5. Unfortunately, there were 2 fighters on the side of Team Ireland that did not move forward. We have the most stringent medical requirements here. If there's any question whatsoever about whether a fighter can continue, the decision is made in the interest of fighter health and safety for that fighter not to continue. So Ireland is now starting 2 fights down due to 2 buys. Team, of course, is trying to reach 5 of 9. Once they hit that 5, the World Championship is theirs.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are ready to start our MMA Super Cup 2022 finals. Before we begin again, I would like to give a round of applause for the man, the greatest leader that I have ever witnessed in my lifetime. And I know we all feel the same. The life changer, the dream maker, the one and only, His Royal Highness Sheikh Khalid bin Hamad Al Khalifa. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to start our finals in the female Bantamweight 61.2 kilogram division. Introducing your first warrior. Fighting out of the blue corner, please welcome Kerry Ann Vernon. And her opponent, fighting out of the red corner, from KHK Team Bahrain, please welcome Sabrina Laurentina de Souza. For referee instructions, Scott Manhart.
medal. You know the new rules. I need you to respect the rules, respect my instructions. Touch gloves if you want to touch. Go back to your corners.
All right, female bantamweight to 61.2 kilograms from Ireland. Kerry-Ann Vernon in the blue corner. Her opponent from Bahrain, Sabrina Laurentina de Souza.
Both these fighters could do it all, but it may end up being a classic striker versus jiu-jitsu battle.
Vernon winning her first semi-final fight via a spectacular KO finish against a tough Mexican opponent. She's definitely got power in those hands. She has power at the end of her shots.
She's trying to catch those, so let's just box. Pop that jab.
Vernon's corner asking him to get to work off the jab. They wanted to establish the distance and set up that right hand with the jab.
Beautiful jab, Jerry. Oi! There we go. Keep the jab, keep the jab. Keep it in her face. Keep it in her face. Nice low stance. Watch the overhand here now.
Because of the differences in testosterone, it's much harder for women to knock each other out. Knockout power, like we've seen from Kerry-Ann Vernon, is fairly rare, and she possesses it in abundance.
Keep the jab. Level change, level change, level change. Level change.
She's definitely got a tough test ahead of her in Bahrain, Sabrina de Souza. But she's calm and collected. She's receiving instructions from her coaches. She's responding much like a video game, Garrick.
I've noticed that of a lot of these amateur athletes, very, very different from the pro ranks. Video games with a controller is a very apt metaphor. These young athletes are beautifully responding to instruction from their corners.
Pop that jab. Pop that jab.
This is what Vernon's got to do. She's got to use the distance she's been gifted. She's got to use the head work as well and be unpredictable. She wants to try and catch de Souza off guard.
That head movement is good. It has to be vertical movement as well as from side to side, because de Souza throws very, very vicious looping shots.
Beautiful work. And the two after that now. When she misses, hit her with the two. When she misses, hit her with the two. There's an overhand there for you all day long as well.
Lead hand ever so slightly low from Vernon. Could open up that overhand right from de Souza, and we know she possesses immense power in that overhand right. There it is, coupled with the left hook.
That's your two.
Vernon receiving brilliantly clear instructions from her corner. When the opponent misses, hit her with that straight right.
Yes, there you go. Beautiful.
Nice level change from de Souza, switching up the game again, calling upon a different, looking for the armbar here. Calling upon a different avenue in mixed martial arts is paramount. If you can't win the striking battle, you look to take the fight down to the ground. Knee on belly here for de Souza.
Yes, up to your knees now.
De Souza with the switch, looking for the back, one hook in, lots of ground and pound.
Stand. Back to the fence. Back to the fence. Fight the hands here.
Both
Fight the
hooks are in
hands. Pull the
place
hand
now.
down.
This is a very,
Pull the hand
very
down.
bad situation. The
Pull
choke
hand
is already
down.
tight.
Pull it down.
It is
10
seconds away now.
10
It is
seconds,
seconds
Jerry.
away.
Pull it down. Pull it
We've
down.
got just seconds until, and tap out. Just moments before the end of the round, we have a tap out due to rear naked choke.
What a great squeeze by de Souza. She obtained the back beautifully, had one hook in, she used the ground and pound to disguise the second hook, and it sunk that arm beautifully underneath the chin.
Fight fans, when a choke is sunk that well with position that is that tight, there is no escape. I took a seminar with Royce Gracie a long time ago, and one of my students asked a long and rambling question about an escape. Royce Gracie's answer was simple: don't get there. But once you get there in this position, there is no escape. This is a sunk rear naked with a figure four. There was only one option, and that, unfortunately for Team Ireland, for Kerry-Ann Vernon, was a loss.
De Souza as well, usually with the bottom side arm, you're looking to choke your opponent, but she did it with the top side. So usually you want your opponent to fall into the crook of the elbow for the choke, but she did it with the opposite, with the left arm, and still obtained perfect squeeze, perfect positioning for the rear naked choke. Great work from Laurentina de Souza.
There are 6 more fights. Team Bahrain needs to win 2 of them to move
What
on.
an incredible way to start our historic night with KHK Team Bahrain having an explosive victory. This comes at round number 1 2 minutes and 56 seconds. Your winner by rear naked choke from KHK Team Bahrain, Sabrina Laurentina de Souza.
Carrying what a way to secure the $100,000 with an emphatic finish in the first round via rear naked choke. Dominant performance from de Souza.
And that was an extraordinary exhibition, and not just of jiu-jitsu, but of all the facets of mixed martial arts. Very crisp striking, both looping shots straight, takedowns, and of course, that fight-ending submission.
Let's continue the action with our second bout of the MMA Super Cup 2022 Finals. From Ireland, please welcome Jordan Bradshaw.
Jordan Bradshaw makes his way to the cage. Exceptional striker, great in and out footwork, beautiful rear kick as well that he likes to throw in there to deter his opponents from coming forward. Last minute checks here from our officials and cut team. A wonderful team here cage side at the MMA Super Cup Finals 2022. Everyone pulling it together, everyone doing a great job to make sure these athletes are as comfortable as possible to perform at their best.
Let's welcome his opponent into the MMA Super Cup 2022 Final Cage. From KHK Team Bahrain, please welcome Haji Mohammed Ali.
Haji Muhammad Ali, last minute checks, a great wrestler, excellent boxing. Watch out for his 1-2 that he couples with a double leg. A very, very dominant wrestler in the top position. Gotta make sure you don't end up on the bottom of this match.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, this next battle inside the MMA Super Cup 2022 Finals is in the Featherweight division, 65.8 kilograms. Let's meet our first warrior. Representing Team Ireland, fighting out of the blue corner, give it up for Jordan Bradshaw. And his opponent, fighting out of the red corner, from KHK Team Bahrain, please welcome Haji Mohammed Ali. For fighter instructions, your referee, Antonio Garcia.
Respect the rules. When I say stop, stop. Okay?
Haji Muhammad Ali, as said, is an excellent wrestler. However, in order to take a fighter down, he typically will change levels and shoot in on those hips. Jordan Bradshaw's corner wants to dab an uppercut waiting.
Jordan Bradshaw in the blue, Haji Muhammad Ali in the red. And already Muhammad Ali looking for the single leg. He's going to go head outside on this one, down to the mat. He's going to try and elude the full guard of Bradshaw here. He's got to try and circle round to his right side and skip over that left leg of Bradshaw.
Unsuccessful thus far in the attempts to pass to half guard is Muhammad Ali.
Bradshaw with some nice utilization of the butterfly, but ultimately potentially gives up the side control position here. Oh, beautiful work retaining the full guard. Going to go to body lock.
Bradshaw showing a very slick guard from bottom. Thus far, it has not been passable.
Bradshaw, 2018 European Open bronze medalist, returns to the IMF competition for the first time in this instance since also triumphed at last month's Irish Nationals.
Bradshaw's corner wants him to throw some punches from bottom.
And that's the thing, if you're Jordan Bradshaw here on the bottom and you want to get this fight back to the feet, your job is to control the body and control the posture of your opponent to force the stand-up. It's going to be very difficult for him to sweep or submit off of his back here.
Bradshaw thus far taking remarkably little punishment, listening to his corner as all these young athletes have been, throwing some shots of his own. Now Haji Muhammad Ali returning the favor, softening up those ribs a little bit. And we have the beginning of a pass. I don't want to say it's passed because every time I thought it, there was a regard like you saw right there. Haji Muhammad Ali trying to control that wrist to limit the ability of the arm to defend.
That's how dominant he is. Bradshaw had the underhook, and he was just unable to get out of this position. He's going to go for the rear naked choke here now.
Hooks are in, squeeze coming. We're in a scramble situation. This is mixed martial arts right here. Whoever scrambles the hardest is going to end up with a position of advantage.
Great work
Scramble,
from Bradshaw.
scramble, scramble. It's still a situation where no fighter with 30 seconds to go has any clear advantage. This is mixed martial arts. This is where all close fights are won. Whichever athlete can definitively end this little exchange.
Oh!
Go ahead.
Huge head kick from Bradshaw, rocks Muhammad Ali as he shoots for the takedown. Bradshaw would be wise to separate here. That was a huge connection. Bradshaw getting back to his feet here, 9 seconds of the round. Beautiful
Absolutely,
work.
positively, the biggest shot of the card so far has been from Jordan Bradshaw. Beautiful head kick. May not have followed it up in an ideal manner. Round ended.
Take a look at the replay here. You see Muhammad Ali look for that single leg, head outside, nice and heavy with the chest. Here's some work from the full guard. Here's where Bradshaw turned, gave up the back briefly.
Haji Muhammad Ali has now felt Jordan Bradshaw's power.
I think this was the head kick here. I think Bradshaw separated, and in the interim, the dead space. No, this was the takedown. And here it is. There, boom, as he drops levels straight on the button. Muhammad Ali noticeably wobbled after that to see if he can regain his equilibrium between the rounds.
Ironically, Haji Muhammad Ali is now going to want to try and get in on those hips even quicker to avoid the power of those kicks. But trying to get in on those hips is what gave that kick so much power. A little bit of a cheeky glove touch and punch.
Oh, and there's a head kick again, but caught by Muhammad Ali, who's going to now turn this into a takedown. And he's going to look to stay on top and control. I'd advise him, if I was in his corner, to not get this fight to the standing position, to maintain the ground control.
Got one hook in place.
Head and arm triangle potentially here for Muhammad Ali. He's going to have to try and pass around to that left side.
And
He's got it. Oh, he's going to sprawl his weight down here. Kerrick and squeeze for the finish.
This defense is not perfect. You cannot hold this defense out. He's out. He's out. That submission. What an unbelievable squeeze from Haji Muhammad Ali. The Overhooking the leg defense was perfectly in place, and yet despite that, there was an almost instant fade to black. Extraordinary technique, extraordinary squeeze from Haji Muhammad Ali, and with that, Bahrain pulls into 4 wins. They are 1 win away from securing the MMA Super Cup 2022.
You can see here from the replay, Bradshaw goes limp from the pressure from Muhammad Ali. In this instance, his own arm and Muhammad Ali's arm choking him. He's all good, back to his feet.
For those of you fight fans not completely familiar with mixed martial arts, chokes look a little scary, but they are not. Choking is an integral part of judo, an Olympic sport. Everybody in every country, everywhere in the world is getting choked out every week. It is not dangerous, as you saw there. Jordan Bradshaw jumped up, a little disappointed. I think still proud of himself for being in there. I sure am. The great Eldar Eldarov congratulating his man, Haji Muhammad Ali, for a tremendous performance. Carlos Kramer's in the cage, and he's just about to make it official.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, an explosive finish coming to an end at 38 seconds of round number 2. Your winner by head and arm triangle from KHK Team Bahrain, Haji Muhammad Ali. All right, we're ready to continue the action on this historic night, the MMA Super Cup 2022 Finals. Let's bring our next warriors into the cage. From Team Ireland, please welcome Lewis Byrne.
Lewis Byrne gets the last minute attention here from our great Cup team cage side, veteran of the 2019 World Championships and 2021 World Cup. Yet to medal in the IMF competition, but he's building a lengthy amateur record, only 5-6 to date at just 22 years old.
A lot of pressure on this young man with a loss. Bahrain.
And his opponent from KHK Team Bahrain, please welcome Karban and Rizzo.
Idrisov makes his walk to the cage, a 2021 world gold medalist. Great double leg, excellent boxing for mixed martial arts as well. Hides his overhand right beautifully and ties it down to the outside trip. So watch out for that one.
I liken Team Bahrain on the pre-show to an avalanche, to a tidal wave coming in. But what you're seeing here is the result of government support. Sheikh Khalid is not greedy. He is not trying to create just a great team here in Bahrain, which he has. He is trying to create teams equal to this, with support equal to this, all over the world, with support from their government. And events at this level, the MMA Super Cup 2022, are the sort of showcases that you can take to the sports authority and start getting government support for a great sport everywhere.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, this next battle is a lightweight bout, 70.3 kilograms. Introducing your first warrior, fighting out of the blue corner from Team Ireland. Give it up for Lewis Byrne. And his opponent, fighting out of the red corner from KHK Team Bahrain. Please welcome Kerman and Rizzo. For fighter instructions, referee Kevin David.
Gentlemen, you know the rules. Protect yourself at all times. Listen to my commands at all times. Good luck, God bless, touch gloves, and back to your corners.
A touch of gloves, and we get underway here at lightweight. Lewis Byrne in the blue corner, his opponent. Kerman Idrisov in the red.
These Team Bahrain fighters are beautiful reflections of their coach, Eldar Eldarov. They hit very, very hard. They take their opponents down with world-class skills. They feel like a tank rolling over you when they're on top of you, and their submission skills are incredible.
But every fight starts standing. That gives Byrne a chance to land that decisive kick or punch. He's twitching the rear leg here. Could be looking for the teep straight down the middle. Inside leg kick from Idrisov. Looking to follow up.
Byrne feinting from multiple angles, attacking from multiple angles, trying to set up that big straight right hand of his.
And Byrne's got to show that uppercut to deter Idrisov from changing levels and coming in. Again, no knees to the head under the amateur mixed martial arts rule set here at the IMF. One of the main weapons to deter is that uppercut. Oh, there's a level change straight into the double leg. Idrisov gets the takedown.
What do we say? What do we say? What do we say? We're hitting a strike, come on, guard and strike. That's it. Look for that hand, control that right hand. Attack the neck, attack the arms, come on.
Excellent defensive advice from Ireland's corner. They want to see some strikes from bottom. Top position is not inherently better than the bottom position in the judge's eyes. It's what you do with it. Of course, it is easier to attack from top.
That's it, and again.
We got it. We got the beginnings of an armbar attempt coming together.
Up kick, Lewis. Up kick.
Byrne's corner calling out for the up kick. Difficult up against the cage now. He's got to try and circle away. He can push off the cage, but he can't put his feet inside the fence. Can't get those toes caught up. Otherwise, the referee is going to give him a warning for that.
Good lad. Make space, make space. Yeah, control the hip, Lewis. Beautiful. Okay. Pipe the arm there, no problem. Yeah.
Again,
Chase it up.
legs moving up, legs running up the body. Hips are just a little too far from that elbow to be in real danger. That up kick could have been a game changer if it had landed.
Byrne might be looking for a leg lock here. Again, problematic when you can get punched in the face. So he's got to make sure he exposes that joint and then applies braking pressure as soon as possible.
Lewis, guard again. Good lad. Little shots there.
Excellent advice from the Irish corner, exhorting his fighter to throw shots from bottom.
10 seconds. Couple of hammer shots there now on the break. That's it, and again. Good, beautiful. Oh, beautiful, good.
Looks like there's some bruising there on the left leg of Byrne from previous fights throughout the tournament. I wonder if that's going to make it a bit less likely for him to bounce around as easy.
This is these Warriors' third fight in 4 days. That alone is a massive physical feat. And one that these top IMAF competitors are now used to. It's the world-class submission skills we've talked about. Now we've got Eldar Eldarov calmly imparting advice to Kurban Idrisov.
Great penetration on that double leg. Used the head there as a guidance system to try and walk past the guard. But I mean, credit to Byrne, he did a great job of re-guarding off of his back and staying out of danger.
In that round, Kurban Idrisov showed no real interest in standing and trading. He feinted any number of shots. I don't believe he's really going to commit to either a punch with his lead or his rear hand. He's probably going to try and get in on those hips fairly quickly. Lewis Byrne being reminded to throw an uppercut. Solid uppercut, if you catch your opponent moving in, can be a big-time game changer. It could be a game ender.
Oh, beautiful, that's it. And you have to no, go back up. Hands. That's it, good.
Quick little limp leg from Lewis Byrne, still standing, still where he wants to be.
Jab in the face, now jab in the face, come on. And then you throw the backhand. Straight hook, straight. Give me a straight hook, straight. Come at there. Nice, come on, and again.
Byrne now in his groove with this striking. He's not overcommitting, and he's doing a great job of using his footwork to get out of danger. He's constantly off that center line, which makes it very difficult for Idrisov to target that double leg.
Byrne throwing beautiful, clean, crisp punches. Idrisov striking a little bit rougher, coming in at looping angles. Idrisov proving to be effective with those low kicks. Ooh, that was one thunderous kick from Kurban Idrisov.
And Idrisov reading the situation there, understanding that Byrne wanted to keep his back off the cage, and he's got to circle out left and right, so he fired that kick beautifully. And a clinch now by Byrne.
We're watching something I did not anticipate seeing in this bout, and that is Lewis Byrne initiating the clinch. He, unfortunately for him, is quickly reversed. His opponent has deep double underhooks.
Head position, pal. Okay. Remember what we said, them hands, look. Keep them high, keep them high.
Oh, beautiful takedown from Idrisov. Double underhooks, dominant position in wrestling.
Good lad.
Now here we see the armbar attempt, potentially. If he can get his left knee across between him and his opponent, Byrne could potentially threaten this armbar here.
Lewis Byrne trying to pry his opponent's head off with a far side leg, but thus far,
Idrisov might be setting up a
unsuccessful.
north-south choke here.
There was no problem here.
He's got the figure four locked up.
Do the same thing on the top.
It's largely could be
There's
due to
pressure on that neck.
yeah, pressure on the neck. Pain usually this is.
This is not ordinarily pressure that would put someone to sleep, but these Team Bahrain fighters do have an incredible squeeze.
That's the thing, it's immensely uncomfortable. It might promote Byrne to try and escape erratically and then give an arm or give a position. He's going to look to roll here. But again, very difficult to roll a great wrestler such as Idrisov.
Beautiful stuff. Don't let him strike.
Idrisov now trapping the right arm of Byrne. But another dominant wrestling for mixed martial arts performance from Idrisov.
Very credible performance by Lewis Byrne. What he needs to do, he knows what's going to be coming. In the first minute or so of this round, there's going to be a leg shot attempt. He has to have something ready for it. In the pro ranks, that would probably be a knee. That knee would in all likelihood land on the head, forbidden under amateur rules. I think he wants to have an uppercut ready. And I don't think he wants to clinch with his opponent unless he's forced to.
So look at the replay here, nice level change overhand right. Just misses the mark from Byrne as he follows up with the right hand. Touch of gloves here, round 3 minutes on the clock. MMA Super Cup Final 2022, Byrne in the blue and Idrisov in the red. Idrisov landed a nice left hand straight down the pipe. Idrisov stuck to Byrne like glue in that dead space. Reinitiate the clinch up against the cage. Great turn from Byrne. Now he needs to start thinking about separating here. He's got to try and frame on the face.
Those fingers are together, I was just about to say, in my experience. When those Team Bahrain fighters get their fingers locked together around the body, that body is about to get thrown to the floor like a sack of potatoes.
Nice regard from Byrne. Could use the cage to circle away from danger, also to set up arm bars potentially. Byrne looking for the go-go plata potentially. Got to get that shin across the neck. Chooses to abort that.
Too bad, that would have been the first for this tournament.
It's a little bit more difficult as well to pull off that because of the shin pads. It makes a little bit more friction, a little bit more space between you and your opponent, and also pads the throat a little bit when your shin's underneath their throat. So, like you say, it would be an immense way to finish such a great wrestler as Idrisov.
Byrne doing a good job of tying up his opponent's arms, taking the sting off those shots that come in and throwing punches of his own.
Warning for the back of the head shots to Idrisov. He cleans it up, goes to the body and the head.
These shots that are landing now on television probably look like they don't do very much. We are just inches away from them. We can hear the impact. We can see the impact with detail that's not available on the television screen. These are pretty nasty little shots raining down and being thrown up.
And the fist from Idrisov does a good job of squaring his hips up there. Every time his opponent in Byrne gets that angle, he immediately looks to square the hips up to alleviate any of the pressure from the submissions, such as arm bars and triangles.
Byrne on his part, when he gets those the hips turned a little bit, looks for a hammer fist to the head. You saw an attempt right there, but it was thwarted.
Oh,
Triangle. It's all about controlling the head at this point. Louis Byrne needs to control his opponent's head. There's 10 seconds to go in this round. And again, that beautiful, the head's crooked, head scissor, not a triangle. And the two friends stand up together, give each other a little hug, fight's over. Very entertaining fight by Louis Byrne and Qurban Idrisov. Whatever score the judges render in this bout, and we do think we know which way it went, Louis Byrne has showed his team a path to victory. These are not saber-toothed tigers he's fighting. These are not supermen. These are not comic book characters. They are men. He went the distance, landed some good shots. His teammates that follow would do well to emulate it. Fighters standing center cage, cloaked in their respective flags, and here, thanks to Green Hill, our apparel sponsor, is a replay of some of that action. There's the hands together around the body. When you see that from a Team Bahrain fighter, that takedown almost inevitably follows it.
Idrisov did a great job of maintaining that top pressure and staying out of the submissions here.
The Roaring Lion, Carlos Kramer, entering the IMAF cage, just about to make it official.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, another great battle inside the MMA Super Cup 2022 final cage. After 3 rounds, we go to the judges' scorecard. Your first 2 judges scored the bout 30-27. Your last judge scored the bout 29-28 for your unanimous decision victory. From Cage Team Bahrain, Carben and Rizzo.
Huge respect to KHK Team Bahrain. With that, the 5th win in a row in this field of 9. They have clinched the MMA Super Cup 2022 award with $100,000 US and the MMA Super Cup, the most beautiful award in sports. And luckily for us, luckily for fight fans, we are going to have 4 more fights tonight.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's bring our next warriors from Team Ireland and KHK Team Bahrain into the cage for the finals of the MMA Super Cup 2022. From Team Ireland, please welcome Jordan Fury.
Jordan Fury by name. Fury by nature makes his way to the IMF cage. Exceptional power in the punches of this man. Great left hook. Tries to couple that up with the right hand, but has a power left as well. Irish national silver medalist. Takes in the first defeat in the Irish national finals, but himself a KO specialist with 6-1 with 5 KOs and 1 submission. Edging up in the amateur ranks here, the IMF MMA Super Cup.
And let's welcome his opponent. From KHK Team Bahrain, please welcome Magomed Esaev.
Jordan Fury showed, in my opinion, the most polished and devastating striking of this entire tournament. Magomed Esaev is absolutely, positively going to want to avoid it. Fury possesses knockout power, one-shot knockout power with either of his hands. Magomed Esaev is going to change his levels, get into those hips very, very quickly.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, this next bout is in the welterweight division, 77.1 kilograms. Introducing your first warrior. Fighting out of the blue corner from Team Ireland, please welcome Jordan Duffy. And his opponent, fighting out of the red corner from KHK Team Bahrain, give it up for Magomed Esaev. For fighter instructions, Catalin Otelia.
This is a fight for gold medal, right? You know the rules. You want to fight clean, fight hard, touch them if you want, go back to your corner.
Welterweight at 77.1 kilograms. Ireland's Jordan Fury in the blue corner. His opponent from Bahrain, Magomed Esaev, in the red. And Fury here with sprawl and brawl tactics. He's got to work that distance. He's got to move laterally and get those hips ready to sprawl. There's the double leg from Magomed.
Stuff the head now, stuff the head.
This is a sprawl. He's got to clear that right arm as well, Kerrick.
He does. That arm is now sucked in, and it's either going to get sucked in tighter or there will be a switch to a double leg. And there it was. Very little flare. The ankle is now going to get caught by the far hand.
Oh, beautiful shot.
The hook that's against the fence can be prevented by moving the hips up against the fence, using the friction of the fence to drive that knee back. That option has not been used yet. We have one hook in. This is actually a ride that some of these fighters from Team Bahrain favor. They don't necessarily have to get both hooks in.
Can't do anything unless he joins his hand, Jordan. So let's
This squeeze is, it's hard for me to communicate how bad this squeeze is.
use your two hands. Use your two hands.
I had said that these were human beings, that they weren't Supermen, but I might have to make an exception for their squeeze. When these Team Bahrain fighters start to squeeze, it's like nothing. It's like nothing you've seen before. You saw it right there. There wasn't two full hooks in there. When these Team Bahrain fighters get their arm anywhere near your neck, it is a little bit superhuman. That was a terrific example of mixed martial arts. You've got, my opinion, the greatest striker in this tournament in Jordan Fury. Very, very quickly, level change, get on the hips, drive the fight up against the fence, take the opponent down, secure some form of submission. In this case, one that was a little bit unusual, maybe one that Jordan Fury didn't really realize was as dangerous as it was, and then comes that Team Bahrain squeeze.
Take a look at the replay here. The arm snuck underneath the right arm. As soon as it passed the chin here, Kerrick, and then he started to attack the carotid arteries, and then you saw Jordan Fury was forced to tap, making Magomed the victor.
That choke took full effect literally within about a second and a half. Choke from that position ordinarily takes on the order of 5 to 10 seconds. As I said, this is some Superman stuff we're seeing right here.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, another explosive finish by KHK Team Bahrain. This comes to an end at 1 minute and 22 seconds of the very first round. Your winner by rear naked choke from KHK Team Bahrain, Magomed Ismail.
Fight fans often mistake big muscles for strength. Right there, the definition of strength is Team Bahrain. Unbelievable squeezes we've seen so far tonight in the MMA Super Cup 2022 finals.
All right, we're going to continue this incredible MMA Super Cup 2022 finals. Don't forget, the most prestigious trophy in mixed martial arts and all of sports is on the line, as well as $100,000 to the winning team. Let's meet our next warriors. From Team Ireland, please welcome Cameron the Man.
This is a 9-fight card. There were 2 buys. We have 3 fights left. They move up sequentially from division to division. This is middleweight. The final 2 fights this evening is light heavyweight and heavyweight.
Clements claiming gold in the Irish National Championship with 2 rear naked chokes. With a great squeeze if he obtains the back position.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, and let's welcome his opponent from KHK, Team Bahrain. Give it up for Ramazan Gittinov!
Ramazan Gittinov, an illustrious career here at the IMF, 2017 African Championship, men's welterweight silver, 2019 European Championships male welterweight gold, and the list goes on. Very experienced man with great wrestling, excellent boxing skills, and fight finishing TKO.
In one of the cuter moments of the night, one member of Ramazan Gittinov's corner was a young man who appeared to be about 3 years old. Shook Ramazan's hand, doubtless wished him good luck. But as we say in mixed martial arts, you don't need luck. Wish the opponent luck, they're going to need it.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready for our next battle inside the MMA Super Cup 2022 Finals Cage. This is in the middleweight division, 83.9 kilograms. Introducing your first warrior, fighting out of the blue corner from Team Ireland. Please welcome Cameron and his opponent, fighting out of the red corner from KHK Team Bahrain. Please welcome Ramazan Gittinov. For referee instructions, Manap Kapiel.
Middleweight action here, the MMA Super Cup, 83.9 kilograms. Ireland's Cameron Clements in the blue corner. His opponent from Bahrain, Ramazan Gittinov, in the red.
Cameron Clements, aggressive posture, feinting the level change. Opponent likely has no idea where the first attack is going to come from. I sure don't.
Clements has got to be unpredictable. He's got to get on his bike and move on the outside. If he commits to a punch, he's got to move off that center line immediately, because Gittinov will look to change levels for that double leg. There it is. Beautiful work. Gittinov in the top position. He likes the ground and pound here. He'll go to the body to expose the head. He's going to get a little call from the referee. I think the finger has just maneuvered its way out of the glove. A little readjustment.
Completely legal technique under amateur mixed martial arts rules. That's referred to sometime as hitting your opponent with a planet Earth.
Nice slam. He's got to be careful not to spike the head on the slams. That's the key in the rule set here. Can't spike the head downward to endanger the spine. Again, another rule put in place to protect our amateur athletes as they move through to the pro ranks, to make sure that they have an illustrious career and don't put their body under any undue stress. Clements with a lovely sweep back to his feet. Beautiful work. Clements here has got to look for circular motion. Nice head snap. And again, to quote Phil Campbell, to the uninitiated, it doesn't look like much when they're in that 50-50 position. But this is a battle here of muscle memory, internal strength, and grappling ability. This in particular here, it doesn't look like much, but there's a head battle going on here. There's knee strikes, there's circular motion, there's underhooks at play here.
And Clements showing he is every bit the equal to his opponent in the wrestling category, which has not been the case up until now. We've seen superior wrestling on the part of the Team Bahrain fighters. Cameron Clements, very glad to get in that clinch. Try and reverse. 10 seconds now. Both fighters smart to get some punches in. Punches often the effective punches, often the deciding factor in the judge's opinion rather than superior position, particularly in standing. There's our green. There was, I wish we could have seen just a split second before that, because that setup was so perfect. And there are the slams. In addition to spiking the opponent, which is prohibited and was not at all seen here, another thing the top player has to keep in mind is not accidentally clashing the head against the downed player's head. The Irish fighters have all done a terrific job of listening to their corner. If I was to make one exception, it would be to upkick more. The corners have been calling for the upkick. When it's happened, it's been effective. Even when an upkick misses, it makes your opponent think twice. As I said, if I could fault these Irish fighters for a single thing, it would be that they're not upkicking quite enough when their coaching staff tells them to. Coaching staff here, of course, is world class. Big shot. Ramzan getting off.
Clements looking for that uppercut as well. It's brilliant the way he ties in that left hook as well, trying to come over that right hand that sometimes creeps a little bit low from Gitinov.
Cameron Clements showing some very slick technique. Went to the body, up to the head. When it missed, he was able to separate from his opponent. Happened a second time, and unfortunately he was not. May have been just a little overconfidence from that first nearly identical exchange.
Gitinov is going to try and walk up to mount here. It looks like he's got the right leg and the left leg clear. Now full mount, looking for the ground and pound is Gitinov. Quarter half guard for Clements.
Quarter guard can be a very effective position in grappling. Unfortunately, in mixed martial arts, it means you're three-quarter mounted.
Yeah, and then the introduction of the punches as well. What we need to see from Clements is a buck and a turn, but he didn't force the leg. He didn't block the hip to retain the half guard here. He's eating all these shots. Big shots from Gitinov in the top position. Hammer fist landing now. Referee very close.
Referee watching carefully. Cameron Clements needs to show an effective defense, and that unfortunately was not it. Simply covering your head is not an effective defense. The referee looks for two elements. One, was there danger? Two, was there effective defense? If you see both of those elements, you stop the fight. Terrific sportsmanship shown here. There's the little corner man in Ramzan Gitinov's arms. Told his dad to win, and when he did.
Here's a look at the replay here. He switched between the punches and the hammer fists, but it was the top control that maintained the pressure here and allowed him to strike down. You can see there Clements' turn, and that's all the referee wanted to see.
Give that young man about 36 months. He'll be taking people down, landing big shots. We talk about these fighters being the future, but that's the real future right there. Son of a warrior, already showing his flex. Thumbs up, young man. I look forward to calling your fights in just a few years. Another replay courtesy of Green Hill of the final moments of the bout. Crushing shots coming down. Simply covering up is not an effective defense. And the bout was rightly stopped.
All right, another explosive finish inside the MMA Super Cup 2022 Finals cage. This comes to an end at 1 minute and 41 seconds of the second round. Your winner by TKO due to strikes from KHK Team Bahrain, Ramazan Gatano.
Brave International Fight Week, the largest martial arts event in Asia, is coming to a close. We have just 2 more fights left on the card in this, the MMA Super Cup 2022 finals between Ireland, Bahrain. Bahrain thus far has been a tsunami, taking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 fights.
Ladies and gentlemen, 2 fights remain in the greatest amateur tournament that our world has ever seen. 8 of the greatest teams in the world going to battle with these 2, Team Ireland and KHK Team Bahrain, in the finals tonight. Let's bring out our next 2 warriors. From Team Ireland, please welcome Dennis Perry.
Dennis Perry makes his way to the cage, winning in the semi-finals by submission Americana against Mexico. He's got great top pressure, excellent break-in mechanics when he secures the figure 4. Perry returning to the IMAF platform for the first time since earning bronze in the 2015 World Boot Championships in Las Vegas. He's coming to make a mark here in the matchup against Bahrain.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, this next battle is in the light heavyweight division, 93 kilograms. Let's bring out our next warrior from KHK Team Bahrain. Please welcome Ghazi Gadziev.
Gadziev makes his way to the cage, championed at the 2021 Euros and came second place at the 2021 Worlds. Exceptional double leg, very long reach, power at the end of his punches as well.
This division, light heavyweight, is, in my opinion, the most dangerous. The bigger you get ordinarily, the harder you hit. Some of the heavyweights don't have quite the footwork that the lighter weights do to set those shots up. This division, to me, is the perfect balance between size and speed. These are the most dangerous men on the planet. not a bout I expect to go the distance.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, this next bout is three-minute rounds in the light heavyweight division, 93 kilograms. Introducing your first warrior. Fighting out of the blue corner from Team Ireland. Please welcome Dennis Perry. And his opponent, fighting out the red corner from Cage Chain, Team Bahrain. Please welcome Gadziev. For referee instructions, Musa Ramo.
Listen to me all time. When I say stop, stop the fight. Touch gloves. Good luck.
Light heavyweights here, 93 kilograms at the MMA Super Cup. From Ireland, Dennis Perry in the blue corner. From Bahrain, Gadziev in the red. This one's set to be an explosive contest.
Opened up with a couple of pendulum kicks. Quick follow-up with a light shot to the liver. A little harder one the second time.
Dennis with a nice low stance in anticipation of defending the takedown. Nice hips by Dennis.
That's as cleanly as we've seen a Team Bahrain takedown get shut.
Yeah, he did a good job of screwing the hips back, but he's given away the underhooks here. Outside trip for Gadziev. Back exposure immediately. One hook in. Oh, great defense by Perry, however, getting that base leg down. But it wasn't forever, Carrick.
We got a hook in. We got another hook in. We've got danger here. Beautiful job. Dennis Perry cleared that hook. Still in a compromised position, but not nearly as bad as when those hooks are in. And look at that, big man from Ireland, reversing.
He's got to stay patient on this position here. He's got to retract the leg as well. There's danger of a footlock here.
There is no heel hooks allowed.
Yeah, and he's got to be careful now with that leg reaped across. For Perry here, he's got to look to stand on that leg to try and intertwine himself on the inside of the leg. So he's going to try and push the left leg away of Gadziev to the outside, just like that. Beautiful separation. He's got to stay heavy in the dead space.
As always, brilliant coaching from the Irish corner. They want their fighter to stand up, but as he's standing up, they want him to hand fight to prevent those hands from locking around the body. Team Ireland's coaching staff is literally picture perfect. They're giving their fighter all the instructions necessary. But it's very, very hard when you've got a tsunami like Gadziev on top of you.
Gadziev switching between the mount and the back position. These are heavy punches. Referee looking on. Gadziev pouring on the pressure.
Defense in this. We need more defense in this.
Big left hands from Gadziev, smashing down on Ireland's Dennis Perry. And what an emphatic finish here at light heavyweight.
In the professional ranks, that bout would have been allowed to go on longer, but this is a developmental part of mixed martial arts. This is trying to prepare these athletes not just for being better human beings, but being better fighters. Taking a lot of damage in the cage is not a good part of that. Bout was very rightly stopped. Although Dennis Perry looked like he could have continued. He was in no part out, but without an intelligent defense, the referee rightly stopped the bout.
Back at the replay here, the awesome takedowns from Gachiev. The top control, the pressure through the hips. There was a brief moment he tasted his back, but this was the beginning of the end. The mounted position to the back position. Immense pressure through the hips there, through the back of Perry, made it very impossible for him to escape. He ate all those left hands.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, another incredible finish inside the MMA Super Cup 2022 final cage. This comes to an end in round number 1 at 2 minutes and 42 seconds. Your winner by TKO due to strikes from KHK, Team Bahrain, Gazi Gaziel!
After the extraordinary Brave International Fightweight, the MMA Super Cup 2022 semifinals. Now the finals at Brave Combat Federation 57. We are one fight away from the close.
All right, everyone. Our last fight of the evening of our historic MMA Super Cup 2022 finals between Team Ireland and KHK Team Bahrain. Let's bring out our final warrior. From Team Ireland, please welcome Gustavo
Gustavo Lopez, a BJJ specialist. We saw him with a very impressive knee bar, despite being calm under fire. He still pulled off the submission. I saw him in the hotel after, Kerrick, and he said, "My head hurts, I've got a bit of a headache. At least I pulled off the submission."
He sure did. I think he popped that knee. It was, to my mind, arguably the most exciting moment of this tournament. It came down to 4-4 in the final fight to decide who would get to 5 and move on. Gustavo Lopez appeared to be losing about every second of every minute of every round until with 1 second left. Victory via knee bar. Absolutely spectacular moment. You couldn't script it.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's bring his opponent out to the cage. From KHK, Team Bahrain, please welcome Sultan Gapigo.
Sultan Kapizov makes his way to the cage, hailing from the number 2 ranked senior team, Bahrain. A real MMA dream team, and this is one of the dreams from that team. Great wrestling for MMA, immense pressure up against the cage, and he uses his ground and pound tactics beautifully. He drags his fighter down to the ground.
Last little hug from the great Eldar Eldaron, head coach of KHK MMA Bahrain.
This is going to be interesting here. Will Lopez look to invert? Will he look to submit off of his back? Given that Sultan is a ground and pound specialist, he's got very long limbs, which allows him to guillotine and shoot the Dar strokes and anaconda chokes from many precarious, unusual positions.
Gustavo Lopez has proved his bravery, shown to me that he's absolutely comfortable anywhere, doesn't care if he's taking some punishment at the time because he knows he's got an absolutely riveting, lingering chance of winning
for
at any
MMA
point.
Super Cup 2022 Finals. Before we begin, I have one question for you, and one question only. Are you ready? This battle is in the heavyweight division, 120.2 kilograms. Introducing your first warrior. Fighting out of the blue corner, from Team Ireland, please welcome Gustavo Lopez. And his opponent, fighting out of the red corner, representing KHK, Team Bahrain, please welcome Sultan For referees' instructions, Jan Favorite.
Guys, fight hard but fair and always for winning. Бойцы, покажите честный бой. If you want to touch gloves, do that. And go back to your corner. Good luck in your fight.
The both athletes cowering over the top of the referee. Just indicative of how big these heavyweights are. Heavyweight action, 120.2 kilograms from Ireland in the blue corner, Gustavo Lopez. His opponent in the red from Bahrain, Sultan Agapizov.
Fight fans, welcome to the land of the giants. Lopez measuring his opponent, stalking, feinting.
Turning back kick from Agapizov, but Lopez used the opportunity straight into the mount early on. Now he's got great submissions in his game. Watch for him to secure the arm or potentially walk up to try and get to the S mount for triangles and arm bars. But he might look to posture up here. Once he breaks the grips of his opponent, he might look for the ground and pound to further promote the submission.
Monster moment for Team Ireland. Fastest takedown in the mount that I can remember in this entire tournament. Now we've got a submission master, a submission monster on top. Sultan holding on, and at some point fairly soon is going to try and explode out. Either with a shrimp to guard or perhaps more likely a roll. There was the roll attempt, and it was successful.
Agapizov might look to circle around to try and stuff the guard and look for the guard pass.
As we've seen, Gustavo Lopez is a submission machine from bottom as well. He's got any number of opportunities here. Popping those hips out, we'll see if Sultan Agapizov follows him.
Lopez looking for the triangle, yep.
Beginnings of a triangle coming there.
He's got to try and get that left leg clasped around the neck of his opponent. Lopez looking to hold on here. Interesting, given that he's a submission specialist, but potentially might want to get this one back to the feet and try and re-establish the top position.
He may also be attempting a back take. That's what we're seeing right here.
Yeah, he's got to try and clear that left arm of Agapizov to expose the back here. Referee's going to stand him up.
Referee stands him up.
Yep.
I was enjoying that action, but I can absolutely see why there was a stand-up.
Oh! Big kick to the face there from Gapizov at the bell. An interesting first round, given that Gapizov, the wrestling specialist, the ground and pound specialist, was kind of nullified in the top position and the bottom. He was worried about those submissions from Lopez, so he didn't really open up with too much ground and pound. And as a result, the fight got back to the standing position.
We have seen an extraordinarily dominant rout here by Team Bahrain. As I said earlier, the result of Team Bahrain is because of the extraordinary support that Sheikh Khalid has put behind it, but he is trying to recreate similar structures all over the world. He wants the entire world to have athletes with the level that you've seen tonight.
Take a look at the replay here. There was the leg kick. Some of the melee striking close range from Lopez.
Boom!
Oy!
That was one of the biggest kicks of this entire MMA Super Cup 2022. Lopez checked that nose, make sure it wasn't bleeding, and it's not.
Lopez didn't seem too wobbled by that teep to the face as he came in, but he's got to be careful about shooting in like that, otherwise he's going to walk onto those turning back kicks, those uppercuts, and those techniques potentially that you can run into when you shoot the takedown without any thought.
Heavy, heavy. Low kicks coming in from Sultan Gapizov. I'd hesitate to call those pendulum kicks. Ordinarily that lead inside low kick is done to gauge range, touch the opponent. Those kicks we are seeing are being thrown with bad intentions.
Oh, spinning back fist again. That prompted Lopez to shoot him, but he didn't get the top position in this instance. Now he's an expert here with a deep half guard. We've seen him here before.
That is a clear shot to the back of the head. Lopez does not appear particularly rocked, but he is going to get some time to clear his head. He has up to 5 minutes, and in my opinion, fighters should take longer than they normally do. If you suffer a foul, and that was a clear foul, inadvertent, but a foul nevertheless, fighters should not feel pressured to jump right back in there again. Sultan Gapizov standing there, clearly expressing regret. These kind of things happen all the time in these lightning exchanges in mixed martial arts.
Yeah, Team Bahrain, a very honorable team. Definitely wasn't intentional, but sometimes it can happen in the craziness of, oh my goodness, is he going to take a point? One point deducted.
A point deduction for a very clear blow to the back of the head. That is certainly well within the referee's rights to do. He's speaking very, very firmly to his opponent. The reason you don't want blows to the back of the head is that area, that mohawk, is particularly sensitive to concussion.
Let's see if Gapizov tightens up the techniques now. When he throws the aesthetically pleasing techniques such as the turning back kick, spinning back fist, it gives Lopez the opportunity to change levels, and he's very responsive, looking for the overhand right. Let's see if Gapizov uses more clean punches and kicks straight down the pipe. Oh, beautiful kick.
Lopez wants to avoid reaching down with his hands when those kicks come in. If his opponent gets that read, a question mark kick's going to catch him in the head.
Nice uppercut from Gapizov, separation. Spinning back fist. But Lopez failing to capitalize on that.
Gapizov moves with startling speed for a man this big.
Lopez looking to work his way in methodically, turning back kick. Gapizov very patient, looking to target the midsection to bring the hands down.
Lopez not showing his characteristic aggression.
Good to pull the fight down to the ground off of his back there.
That, my friend, is real faith in your submission ability.
Oh, straight right hand down the pipe. That one connected. Lopez doesn't seem too wobbled by that.
Bit of glove touch. A lot of contact between these two, including some illegal contact to the back of the head. No hard feelings, and here's our Green Hill replay. That was that straight right hand, and you are dead right. There is no wobble in those legs.
Given that he took potentially 2 right hands there and a left uppercut, look at him storm forward with a stoic face. There it is again from a different angle. Boom, that's the one right hand. Now check out the second one. After this left, pop, and then comes the second. Oh, nice uppercut.
Served only to make him a little angry. I picked up some cornering techniques here, watching this great coaching staff from all over the world. I've often used the waving the towel, but the wet towel is a very intelligent twist. One of many great things I picked up here at MMA Super Cup 2022. I'm expecting a big, big punch from Gustavo Lopez.
Yeah, his coach is asking him to leave it all in there in this 3rd round. So watch for him to swing with reckless abandon. Oh.
There's more where that one came from.
Oh, big head kick from Gapizov. But Lopez is undeterred, still stalking his opponent, coming forward, looking to edge his way in, turning back kick to the midsection. Oh, heavy leg kick from Gapizov.
Huge low kick. When something lands with that kind of force, you can often expect to see it a second time, just with a different setup. Maybe a left.
Sorry, Carrick. The thing with Gapizov, he's so unpredictable. He fires really heavy leg kicks, but he doesn't throw it again. You know, he mixes everything up. So I mean, you would advise Lopez to try and catch one of those kicks, but he simply just doesn't know when they're coming. And by reaching down to catch the leg, he's going to open up the head kick there from Gapizov.
Lopez stalking, shelling, backing up. Does only seem to irk him a little bit when he catches straight shots. Increases his determination.
Gapizov turning up the pressure, turning up the power as well in these punches. He's more vicious intent now. He's looking for the finish. He's looking to make a stamp. Oh,
that
heavy.
Has been the most effective shot of his in this bout. Under a minute to go.
Nice head work from Lopez. But he does tend to look that head straight down to the floor, which is going to open him up to those uppercuts.
Lopez struggling to overcome this height disadvantage. That is not stopping him from trying his hardest.
Lopez has got to tie these punches together, punches in bunches. He's having trouble reaching his opponent with the first shot. But use the first shot to gauge the distance, see where you are in space, then follow up with 3 more. The chances are that maybe the second or at least the third are going to hit your opponent. Nice head kick from Gapizov.
Under 10 seconds now.
Oi!
Unbelievable spinning hook kick attempt to the head on the part of Sultan Gapizov, and with that, the round and the event draw to a close.
Great heavyweight fight between these two respective representatives from Ireland and Bahrain. And what a show for our last fight here at the MMA Super Cup 2022. as we explained earlier, as soon as Bahrain got to level 5 wins, they were the ones that claimed the Super Cup of 2022. But Ireland, the Fighting Irish, still wanted to get that experience here in Bahrain, and they put on a great show.
There were 2 buys, but in all that was 9 wins out of 9 for Team Bahrain. An extraordinary accomplishment for a nation of just 1.5 million people. And that proves to the world what can happen if you have visionary support behind you. Sheikh Khalid every day is working to get that kind of level of support in every country in the world for this mixed martial arts, the world's greatest sport. Walking through the big man. Oh, amazing, a man of that size can whip a shin up to the head that quickly. And there was one of those right outside low kicks, perhaps 6 to 7 in number, the most significant strikes of this, the final fight of MMA Super Cup 2022. Carlos Kramer is dotting his I's, crossing his T's. He is now approaching the MMA Super Cup 2022 cage. We are just seconds away now, fight fans, from the official announcement.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's give it up for a fantastic heavyweight bout to conclude the MMA Super Cup 2022 Finals. Don't forget the award ceremony is coming up next. After 3 rounds, we got the judges' scorecard. The first judge scores about 29-27, red corner. The next judge scores about 28-28. And the third judge scores about 29-27 for your winner by majority decision. From Cage Team Bahrain, Sultan Gapizo!
Well, there we have our conclusion to the MMA Super Cup. Stay tuned for the ceremony of the cup coming your way shortly. And what a great event. What a testament to Sheikh Khalid's vision for mixed martial arts, not just bringing up the nation of Bahrain, but enabling other nations to compete and earn the money to fund their federations to further progress.
Ladies and gentlemen, stay put for the award ceremony with the most prestigious award in combat sports. Calling to the stage, IMF President Gareth Brown, Brave Combat Federation President Bahak Mohammed Shahid, and the President of the Bahrain Mixed Martial Arts Federation, Mohammed Kember. Team Ireland set to receive the silver medal. That's right, second place. $75,000 to their team. An unbelievable experience and a silver medal at the MMA Super Cup 2022. As Team Ireland comes through, what an amazing effort by them. Second place out of 8 of the top teams in the world. Unbelievable performance by Team Ireland. Team Ireland's coaches, ladies and gentlemen. All right, ladies and gentlemen, the moment you've all been waiting for. Your MMA Super Cup 2022 Finals Champion, KHK Team Bahrain, from the magnificent Kingdom of Bahrain, ladies and gentlemen, the #1 amateur team in the world. To win the gold, ladies and gentlemen. Not only did they receive the gold medal, but they also receive as a team $100,000 to use for their great team and their success. An unbelievable moment, ladies and gentlemen. This has never been done in the amateur sport. We have made history together. An unbelievable tournament with 8 of the greatest teams in the land. And KHK Team Bahrain is the #1 amateur team in the world. KHK Team Bahrain coaches, ladies and gentlemen. Head coach of KHK Team Bahrain, the one and only Elderov, ladies and gentlemen. The presentation of the most prestigious trophy in all of combat sports, presented to head coach Elderov and KHK Team Bahrain. Down! The #1 amateur team in the world. Along with the gold medal and this prestigious trophy, the team receives $100,000. We'd like to thank His Royal Highness Sheikh Khalid bin Ahmad Al Khalifa for making this all possible. Incredible vision, incredible team. The one and only Sheikh Khalid. Thank you, Your Highness. of the #1 team in the world, KHK MMA. Thank you, Your Royal Highness, for all you've done for all of us. An incredible job by Team KHK.